Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchitsukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharide. Because I did not bring my English Kathamrita, but doesn't matter, I can always read and translate, and sometimes straight away translate and give you only the English aspect of it.
Okay.
So it was in Dakshineshwar, Thakur in the company of Rakhal and others. Rakhal, Ram, Kedar, very chosen disciples of Thakur, they were all there. There was one Vedantvadi sadhu had come there. So Thakur was talking with him about Brahmagyan. Thakur was about to get into a vehicle, maybe horse carriage, to go to Kalighat for darshan. Then actually he would go via the house of Adhar Sen. There was a deputy magistrate and a very really devoted disciple of Thakur. So naturally, sometimes he goes to his place, would visit him, and then other also would accompany him to the temple. It was Saturday, Amavasya, 29 December 1883. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Saturdays, of course, are considered very sacred for Mother Kali. So the vehicle has come to take Thakur. Then Master Mani was also standing near the vehicle. Mani is asking Thakur, shall I go? Sam says, why? Certainly. Then Thakur is really asking, why do you wish to go? And Mani says, I'll use this opportunity to go to my Calcutta house once. Probably when he was staying, sometimes he would stay for a number of days at Dakshineshwar. And of course, he had also a family, wife and children and all that. A large family. So obviously he has to go. So Thakur says, he's worried, Abar Jabe, will you go again? Here you are very nice, Beshachu, you are happy here. So, of course, he wanted to go only for a few hours. Even then also Thakur was really worried. Because he had a very disturbed family. His wife was about to commit suicide and all that. Now there was a lot of disagreement between Master Moshe's mother and his wife, as it used to happen always, and now also it happens. So, obviously, but Master Moshe, because of Thakur's company, somehow, see, that is why, the grace of God has its own dimensions. You cannot really say how it operates, why some person is grace. Because if you see from just a ordinary standpoint, Master Moshe was nothing great when he came to Thakur. Was it Master somewhere? He himself was about to end his life or something. Just by accident he came to Thakur and got scolded very severely in the very first meeting. But somehow, Thakur even then told him, you have some spiritual characteristics. So anyone if has a little spiritual tendency, Thakur would go out of the way to encourage and help. See, with Master Moshe, it was a long struggle because essentially he somehow had a fascination for Advaita. But Thakur would again and again din into his ears that yes, that's okay. But you need to believe in God with form also. And because he had tremendous faith and respect for Thakur, he was agreeing. So Thakur knew all about him, his family problems, his difficulties, everything he would come and confide to Thakur. And Thakur would guide him also constantly. And
Have you muted yourself, Maharaj?
By mistake.
Yeah.
So every now and then he would even come and stay for a few days. So that's why he was saying that you are fine here. Why do you want to go? Anyway, it was Sunday, 30th December. Next day, it was around 3 o'clock. So this Master was just walking all by himself. There was no one. Then somebody came and told that Thakur is calling him. Thakur was sitting with devotees in the house. Then Master saw, he went and did pranam, and he also sat along with the devotees. Because perhaps something important was being discussed. Thakur didn't want him to miss. So he sent for him to come. Then from Calcutta, Ram, Kedar, all those devotees had come. So they had also brought along with him a Vedanti sadhu. Vedanti sadhu meaning those who believe in this Advaita Vedanta. That's what generally sadhus used to believe, at least those days. Would all believe in that world is linear, Brahma Naruna, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. That was the philosophy. So Thakur that day, he had gone to Ram Babu's house. It was a garden house, a big property. Even now you'll see in Kakurgachi. So there he saw this sadhu for the first time. He was staying, this sadhu was staying in a garden house, bagan actually. It was just below a tree. He was staying all by himself. He had just a katia, nothing else. So Thakur asked Ram Chatterjee to bring him once. So that sadhu also expressed a desire to have Thakur's darshan. So he came. And Thakur was so happy talking to him. And then you saw in Thakur's room, there are two carts, the bigger one and the smaller one. He made that sadhu sit on the smaller cart. And then they were talking in Hindi. Thakur to bhanga bhanga Hindi bolte paate. You broken Hindi, you speak. Of course, Bengalis, I find most of them know a little Hindi, even those who are all the time in Calcutta still. See, imagine, just the same room is even there. Zakshar is there, that big cot is there, that small cot is there. Actually, we can kind of relive those incidents actually. If you close your eyes and imagine Thakur sitting there and this sadhu also sitting on the small cot and conversations taking place between them. It's that is a great advantage when you have a very detailed account of an avatara. And the details are, particularly if you see in the case of Thakur, they are largely at the human level. Although the discussions are all of a very extraordinary nature, the incidents, the surroundings, the other things, they are all very much human. Supposing, even if you read Bhagavata or some other scripture that way, there are many incidents about Sri Krishna's life also. But there's a huge amount of something miraculous, something alaukik, is very much integral part of those lores. But if you see Thakur's life and if you imagine all this, it's very easy for us to just go beyond time and leave those situations. It's not at all difficult. Because even now, closing our eyes, we can very well just feel that Thakur is sitting and talking with that sadhu. Actually, they say it's a very wonderful way of doing sadhana. It's called Leela Chintan. Imagine some incidents because it's not always possible to do intense japa, intense dhyana, etc. But instead of wasting time in worldly talk and useless mundane things, you can imagine some particular incident and then simply live in that mood, in that atmosphere, in that time. It's possible. So Thakur is sitting, they're talking in Hindi. So he's asking the sadhu, यशब तुम्हार की रूप बोध है. What do you feel about all this? What you are seeing around? Sadhu, यशब स्वप्नवत, it's all dreamlike. That's the Vedantin's idea. World, it's all only mere appearance, just like a snake being mistaken for a rope. In reality, it is nothing. It's all only imagination. And Brahman, or the pure consciousness, is the only reality. Then Sri Ramakrishna, Brahma Sattva Jagat Vidya, is saying, these are all Sapnavat, means what is that? What is the reality? Brahman is the reality. Acha ji, Brahma Kiru. Thakur is asking, how do you explain, what is the nature of Brahma? Sadhu says, Shabdai Brahma, Anahata Shabda. This is also one view. There are so many ways. See, the Brahman itself is, as it is again stated in the Shastras, Brahman is something is inexpressible, beyond words. Thakur, in his own very unique language, he always says that Brahman is the only thing which has not become Uchishta. It is alone which has not been despoiled, because it's not possible to describe, because it is beyond expression, beyond speech, beyond mind. Avang manasya gochara. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasya. These are the expressions that are used. So, but another, if you say this anahata shabda, even if it is Brahman, even if it is ultimate truth, even if it is whatever you might say, at some point, there should be an idea where you can kind of feel it, experience it. Something should be there, is it not? Otherwise, it will not only remain as mere statements. That's why they say, even if this world has tremendous meaning, because the supreme consciousness is felt only through this world. It's in and through this world only we are able to experience that. Otherwise, how would you experience Brahman? Brahman is something which cannot be experienced, which cannot be expressed, which cannot be spoken of. What's the point in talking about that? In and through all these manifestations, we know that it's Brahman alone which is appearing as all this. These are all not real, but the reality is Brahman. But even that reality to be experienced, you need a medium. Otherwise, how would you? So, this anahata, normally, all shabdas they happen because of ahata, by hitting. When one hand hits the other, there is sound. When you hit a metal with a hammer, there's a sound. Ahata, when you hit, by that only sound is produced. Anahata is the only sound which arises without being struck. That which arises within. Those reach that kind of supreme state of awareness, continuously they hear. There's a great sadhu, Polima's disciple, he was called Shantananji. Up to late, I think 73, 4, 5 also, he was available, alive at that time. People used to go and ask him, Maharaj, do you hear? Yes, I hear. He used to hear constantly that Anahata Dhvani. Those who have reached a very high state of realization, in various ways they express, in various ways. The Thakur also says about a sadhu who live in a kutir. Whole day and night will be busy only in japa and dhyana. Then he will now and then come out and look at the sky. He will express and then go inside. So once they get a glimpse of that supreme, in somewhere or other it manifests. See, otherwise, what's the difference between I can also speak of the highest Brahmajnana, and you can also speak, but does it mean anything? But if someone had really had a true glimpse of it, somewhere or other so one of the ways is, this is one of the ways in which you can think of the highest, a sound which is produced without being struck, Anahata Dhvani. From deep within, they hear, they say, those who have reached that kind of state. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, Kintu ji, Shabde Pradipatya Ukta Achen, come on. says that which is indicated by the sound, that is there. The Shabda is also indicative of something. So that is one idea. See, this Shabda, this Ahad, indicates the highest Brahman or the consciousness. This is what probably Thakur is trying to say. But Sadhu says, Vachya wahi hai, Vachak wahi hai. The Shabda and the object of the Shabda, they are all one and the same. There is in Adhyatma Ramayana, there is a reference, Vachya Vachak Bedena, Tvameva Parameshwar. Beyond that Vachya Vachak Beda is that supreme reality, that is the Parameshwar. You cannot distinguish between these two. The Shabda and this is that which is indicated by the Shabda. They are all one and the same one. There is nothing to be differentiated. So Thakur, hearing that, see, that is the difference, immediately goes into Samadhi. Ek katha sunite Thakur Samadhi se ho gaya. So immediately he goes to that transcendental level. Immediately he realizes this is it. This is that supreme. Sthir, Chitrarpiter nai, Boshiyache, Sadhu o Bhaktara, Abhak huya, Thakur is Samadhi avastha dekhte chen. So Thakur he was in a transcendental state, and he was absolutely motionless, like a picture. He was sitting absolutely silent. Then the devotees and the sadhu, they were stunned to see this samadhi avastha. They have not seen. Even when he says, the first time I saw what is called samadhi. We have not seen, you have not seen. So those who saw, so they were stunned. And Kedar was telling sadhu, hey, dekho ji, isko samadhi bolta hai. So this is called samadhi. Kedar was explaining to sadhu. Sadhu had heard of it only through the scriptures. He has read about it in the books, but he has never seen. For the first time he saw, it is a person who really has reached that state. And Thakur slowly came back to normalcy. Then he started talking to the Divine Mother. বলিতেছেন মা ভালো হব বেহুশ হইস নে সাধুর সঙ্গে সচ্চিদানন্দের কথা হব মা সচ্চিদানন্দের কথা নিয়ে বিলাস করব. He says, I'll become all right. Don't make me absolutely without any awareness, senseless. I don't want to get to that state where there is no feeling, no awareness. Don't make me behush. Don't make me in that kind of a state, stupor, where there is no feeling, there is no awareness. Because I want to talk to this sadhu about Sachidananda. And I want to enjoy that, be in that. See, even in spite of all that, we might not have realized. Still, we feel so happy to hear about such things. The person who has realized all that, when he hears, he clearly sees that this is it. So, there is a greater joy. His own experience, his own life is being described there. So, there is a greater joy in that. But I think, I don't know whether I have mentioned this in this sitting, this class, but I have referred to it a number of times. Latu Maharaj was not educated in that sense at all. Thakur, great difficulty, tried to give Aksharabhyas to him. He couldn't go beyond awe, because in Bengali, in Hindustani, in Hindi he said in Bangla it is awe. Then when he wrote then Latu says that is as it is in Hindi. Are tum awe ke bolo, tale aur aakar ke ki bolbe. So Thakur gave the idea, because he couldn't make him understand the difference between the first and second letters. But Latu was always, Thakur said, Latu sabshoy chode hi thake. Always was in a extraordinary, exalted mood. That was Latu's nature. So later days, when he was in Kashi, along with that Sudhir, the Shuddhidanandji, he went to hear a Kathopanishad discourse. So when the Panditji said, Angushta Matra Purushontaratma Sada Hriday Sannivishtaha, the nature of the Atman which is in the heart, simply he sprang from his seat, so to say. Sudhir, Pandit Thik Bole che. Because it exactly tallied with his experience. He got so much joy. So after the discourse, they were coming. Sudhir was going little ahead and Maharaj was following. At every 100 steps, Sudhir, Pandit Thik Bole che. See, he was so excited because it exactly, a person who had never read scriptures, imagine how he would feel. It exactly tallies with his experience. The night, so 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, somebody is knocking at Sudhir's room. He was surprised, who is knocking at night, 1 o'clock? He opened. Datu Maharaj is standing. Sudhir, Pandit Thik Bole che. Pandit Thik Bole che. So naturally he was so overjoyed because it exactly tallied with his experience. So here, obviously Thakur says, Sachidananda's katha niye bilash korbo. I really enjoy that, immerse in that talk of Sachidananda because actually it tallies with his own realization. Sadhu was simply stunned to see Thakur and the way he was talking and he was simply listening. And then again Thakur is talking to that Sadhu, is telling, Ab sohum udaiye do, ab ham tom bilas. Arthat, soham she ami udaiye do, ekon ami tumi. So I am that Brahman. Oh, give that up. Don't be in that highest mood of Brahmajnana. Let us come down at the level of Vaita. Amitum. Otherwise, how alap is possible? A person is in the state of Soham. I am that Brahman always. So it's not possible. So to talk, one has to come down. He says, come down. Let us talk. Amitum. I am me and you. যতক্ষণ আমি তুমি রয়েছে ততক্ষণ মাও আছে, এসো তাকে নিয়ে আনন্দ করা যাক। এই কথা কি ঠাকুর বলিতেছেন? So I think this is Master Mercy interpretation. Now and then he gives his own reading. He says, as long as there is you and me, definitely Mother is also there. And when you come down to the level of Vaita, obviously you have to accept God, you have to accept Divine Mother. So let us enjoy, let us make merry, thinking about the mother and talking about her, etc. Is Thakur trying to say this? Then, after some time, Thakur went to the Panchavati to just take a stroll, and then Ram, Kedar, Master, they all accompanied him. Thakur is telling Kedar, Sri Krishna, সাধুটিকে কিরকম দেখলে? How did you find that sadhu? At Kedar says, শুষ্ক জ্ঞান, সবে হাড়ি চড়েছে, এখনো চাল চড়েনি. He says this is dry knowledge. Just now the vessel has been kept in the oven for heating. They are to pour rice, etc. Nothing great has happened. It's just the beginning. Sri Krishna, tapote kintu tyagi. Ram is also not giving up. You are living in the family, you are enjoying everything, and you are saying he is a dry jnani. He says, after all, at least he has given up everything. He is a tyagi, no doubt. Samsar je tyag koreche, she anekta egiyeche. If someone has really given up samsar, not just mere understanding or ritualistic, in a true sense, if someone has given up samsara, all the involvement. Samsara means all our worldly engagement, involvement, all that we do, where we are tied hand and feet. If one can give up, definitely that's a great step. Because you see, ultimate, everywhere, all scriptures, Thakur, Maha, Swamiji, Gita, everywhere, they all say that this kind of tyaga is absolutely essential for any higher knowledge or spiritual experience. Can be in any form. It need not be a formal taking of monastic vows. one can practice, but wherever one is, unless there is an intense effort to come out of all this, unless one has really that drive towards Tyaga, it's not possible, because see, only in a pure mind it's possible for the reflection of the highest truth. The mind is fully cluttered. Supposing you have a mirror, it's full of dust, everything. You cannot see the reflection. To see the reflection, the mirror has to be completely cleaned and made spotless. Then only it is possible. In the same way, for the highest truths to reflect in the mind has to be free from all cobwebs, clutters, numerous attachments which we are bound. So Tyaga is so important. So Thakur says, after all he has given up, definitely is progress. Thakur says, Sadhuti pravartaker ghar, তাকে লাভ না করলে কিছুই হলো না, যখন তার প্রেমে মত্ত হওয়া যায় আর কিচ্ছু ভালো লাগে না. And he gives a very famous Bengali song, will come there. He says, this sadhu belongs to the beginner, the new entrant, to that level. That is his teacher now. But unless you realize the ultimate, unless you realize the supreme, nothing would happen. Then, when you are deeply overwhelmed by that supreme love for God, when you are mad with that love, when nothing else attracts you, then he sings a beautiful song that we shall see later. But Thakur elsewhere also he says, there are stages. Pravartak, Sadhak, Siddha and Siddhir Siddha. We'll come again, of course, during our classes. Again we'll get that. So, he compares it, he gives a beautiful analogy. Supposing there is a room. It's dark. The owner is lying there. He's sleeping. Someone is coming in search of him. The person who enters the room just, he is the pravartak. So, and then sadhana is searching. There is the next step. And siddha, somehow he has touched the Malik once. Siddha, not really touched, he has talked to him, has made him sit up and all that. So in sadhana also he says, pravartak is one just who has taken to spiritual life. Then in the next stage he does intense sadhana. And then he has some realization, maybe a glimpse, maybe a flash. But that's also not enough. What is Siddha? Again and again he is completely established in that supreme state. That is Siddha or the ultimate. So how beautifully he gives the analogy. Pravartak means one who has entered the room. That means what? At least he knows where to search for that. Is it not? That itself is a great step. Supposing you drop something in this room and go and search for it in some other room, it's absolutely meaningless. Even if you search all your life, you will not get it. So the pravartak is a person who has entered, taken the right resolve, the first step. That itself is a great step. He's come to the right place to search for the truth or for the ultimate or whatever it is. So that analogy is so beautiful. He has come to the right place. Then sadhak. It's dark. Nothing is clear. You keep on searching. We really don't know. In spiritual life, it's all absolutely dark only. Because we are trying to touch or reach the beyond or the ultimate from a plane of relative or the mundane. Obviously, it's a very difficult task. How can you talk of transcendence from this level? So that way, this sadhana, that's a period, the initial stage, we keep on searching. really absolutely no clue as to what we are striving for. Here and there we have read, heard, somebody might have told, but still, absolutely there is nothing which is within our grasp. We are not able to really figure out. And then the Siddha just gets one glimpse, and we know that you have got it. Beyond doubt, that was an experience. But then the soul becomes even more hungry, because just a glimpse has actually triggered more hunger, more vyakulata, more intensity. And then when you finally get it again and again, beyond doubt, any number of times, then only that becomes confirmed. We are fully established in that. Or somebody else might have heard one of our senior sadhus give a beautiful explanation of this Siddha and Siddha. He says, supposing you have an address. You are a sadhaka. Sadhaka has an address. This is how where you should search. You are searching. And it is raining tremendously. And it is dark. You are not able to see anything. You have only a vague idea where you are going, what you are searching for. Then there is a sudden flash of lightning. And you see exactly what you are searching for. That address, the house, the signs that were given. That is Siddha. It's got a glimpse. Then afterwards, it may take time to actually reach there. There may be other difficulties. There may be very difficult bridge in between. There may be dogs chasing, whatever it is. But you have got it. You know what you are searching for. There is no uncertainty in the mind. It's clear. Then with that flash of knowledge that came, you ultimately go and reach that place. So that is the Siddha who not only sees, he talks, he has exchange of conversation with him and so on and so forth. That he says the Siddha who is fully established in that. And there is no doubt in his mind about the ultimate or the truth or anything. So he says, is in the Pravartaka Ghar, it's just the beginning stage. Unless you get it ultimately, and unless you are mad with that love for God, and at that time you see, then nothing would appeal to you, nothing would make you happy, or nothing would give you that kind of joy. When you are in that condition, nothing seems to attract you, you don't seem to like anything. Then he says, Jatane Hriday Reko Adharani Shama Make Mon Tui Dayakar Ami Deki Arjana Kevu Nahi Deki. So then you keep the mother with great care in your heart, and then, oh mine, you will see and I will see, no one else would see. That means me and my mother, totally involved, not concerned about anything else. Now concerned with the world, what X would say, what I would say, what's the world, what's happening. No, me and my dear mother. So much overwhelmed by that divine love for mother, nothing else. Then of course he sang another song also. Moner kotha koibo kishoi, koite mana dardi naile pran bachena. So he said, what shall I speak of my mind? What shall I say? It is forbidden to speak about anything unless there is an intense feeling. It's not possible to even survive. Moner manush hoye je jana aur tar nayne te jayego chena.
Maharaj, you muted yourself again accidentally. It's fine now.
So again, Thakur says, it's very difficult to get someone of one's heart, of the same temperament, etc. It's not possible to share, really. That's why many of the spiritual aspirants much more those who have realized, they become total loners because to whom to share with all that? They live in a totally different world. So the others would not understand what they are speaking. That would make no sense to them. But the other person is totally, but somebody told about Thakur that he has become mad or something. You are saying, oh, they are thinking about the worldly things day and night. They are all right. I am thinking about God. I have become mad. It's because who would understand his language? To whom would he really share? Obviously, spiritual journey actually itself is, that's what they say, is a loner's journey. Once you get that kind of deep interest, then absolutely you'll have no company. You have to struggle all by yourself. Only your own God, Ishta, or whatever you have understood, that's the only support, your own Guru, or somebody who is also on a similar path. Otherwise, it's very difficult to find a true companion in this world because very few. How many really take to this kind of search at all? That's why Gita says, no, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschita siddhe yadadam abhisiddhanam kaschin mam veti tatpataha. Among thousands and thousands, a few take to this kind of a search. Obviously, it's difficult to find someone who would really have the same idea, attitude, mentality, and so on. And Thakur has come back to his room. It is 4 o'clock. Now the mother's temple is open. Then Thakur himself is taking their sadhu. Shange kore ma kali ghare jaiti. He wants to see his Vedanta sadhu, whether he will do pranam or what. So he's taking him. Master is also there. Then Thakur entered mother's that room and he did offer his pranams. And then sadhu also, then he folded his hands and then he bent his head and then again and again he offered his pranams to mother. So I'm just asking, Kemon ji, darshan, how did you have? He says, Kali pradhana hai, that is so powerful and is all that kind of a feeling. Then Ram says, Kali Brahma Abhed, Kemon ji? Again he's really poking because this is something which Vedantavadis will not accept at all. But they don't believe that way, because they don't. Kali means it is root. Kali, of course, Thakur gives a very beautiful his own explanation. If you see Mother Kali, perhaps the most perfect description, if at all, if you want to give shape to the highest idea of Advaita, you can see because every incongruency, inconsistency, incompatibility, everything is pictured there. So that is the nature of everything. So it's a very comprehensive picture. But Thakur had his own idea. Brahmana Shakti Abhed. So that Shakti he used to call as Kali. So obviously they are like the obverse and reverse of the same coin. Or it's always just give the famous example, like when the snake, when it is really completely coiled up, then it is Brahman and it is moving in its own way, peculiar movement, then it is Shakti, you would say. So Sadhu is testing him. Kemon ji, Kali Brahma Abhed. He's a very sound person. He says, Jatakun Bahirmo, Tatakun Kali Manta Habe. As long as you accept the external world, then your outward tendencies, obviously you have to accept Kali. Jatakun Bahirmo, Tatakun Balabandhu. Tatakun iti priyo, iti tacho. He says when you have this identification or participation in the external world, then obviously there is externalization, and then there's good and bad, then there's acceptable, this is to be rejected, all that, because it's all belonging to a relative world. But at the ultimate, at the highest, if there is only one, what to reject, what to accept? There's no choice, there's nothing. Only when there is a second, there's a question of comparing, there's a question of rejecting, there's a question of accepting and all that. But there's only one, There's nothing. So that's why he says, when there is external idea, Bahirmukh, obviously one has to accept all this, otherwise nothing. এই দেখুন নাম রূপ তো সব মিথ্যা, কিন্তু যতক্ষণ আমি বহির্মুখী ততক্ষণ স্ত্রীলোক ত্যায্য। আর উপদেশের জন্যে ইটা বলো ওঠা মন্দ, নচেত ভ্রষ্টাচার হবে। Maybe is what the sadhu said, that it's in inverted commas. Probably Thakur himself said, I don't know. He says, of course, Nam Rupa are mithya, because it's a false identification. This Nama and Rupa is all that is creating all the confusion in this world. It's not. If you see this whole world, that which binds us, that which limits us, that which gives us every kind of suffering or dukkha, it's all related to this Nama and Rupa only. Name and form. Just imagine, even think for a few moments, supposing you dealing this name and form from our experience, you'll be surprised. There's nothing to admire, nothing to disagree, nothing to get angry, nothing to get disappointed, nothing to get depressed, nothing to feel jealous about. Nothing will be there. Everything is related to this name and form. Everything. Tell me any example. Everywhere. So the whole world is rallying around this idea of Nama and Rupa. So as long as that idea is there, then all the things, sadhu should be pure, he cannot compromise, all that will be there. Otherwise, he will become a brahmachari. You cannot say that sadhu used to come. He used to say, Jagat teen kaal mein nahi hai, the world does not exist, but he was leading an immoral life. Thakur was highly critical of it. So when you are in the external world, obviously you have to follow all that. You have to follow the disciplines as a monk, etc. So when there is Nama and Rupa, which is really holding us together, which is really swaying us here and there, there's only reason for our suffering and sorrow and so on. As long as that is there, one has to accept all conditions, limitations, etc. Then Thakur Sadhu's sange katha koite ghare phirli. He came to his room, all the while talking to the sadhu. Then Sri Ramakrishna is asking money, that is Master Moshe. Dekhle, sadhu kali ghare pranam korle. So Thakur noticed, although as a Vedanti sadhu, as Master Moshe said, yet he offered pranams there. Then Master Moshe also agreed, Agga. The next day, it was 31st December, evening 4 o'clock. Thakur again was sitting with the devotees. Probably it was year-end holidays or whatever it is. All those people are still there. Balram, Mani, Raka, Latu, Harish, Prakriti Acha. Thakur was talking to Mani and Balram. He was saying, Thakur says, Haladarir Gyanir Bhavchik. Shri Adhatta Upanishad Esab Radin Portu. Edike Shakar Kotai Muk Bakatu. So there was Aladhari, who was Thakur's cousin. He was there. He would always talk about the highest knowledge of Upanishads, etc., Adhyatma Ramayana. It's all a great Advaitic text. All that you would read. And you would really speak disparagingly about anything that is related to Sakhar, that is God with form, etc. He used to really despise and pay scant respect. Of course, he was deeply interested in money and other things. That was beside the point. But at least he claims to be a Vedanta Brahmagyani or Jnani. And then, আমি যখন কাঙালিদের পাথে একটু একটু খেলাম, তখন বললে তোর ছেলেদের বিয়ে কেমন করে হবে? আমি বললাম, তবে রে শালা, আমার আবার ছেলে পিলে হবে? তোর গীতা বেদান্ত পড়ার মুখে আগুন। দেখো না, এদিকে বলছে জগৎ মিথ্যা, আবার বিষ্ণু ঘরে নাক চিপকিয়ে দেন। See, Thakur was very forthright, he won't mince matters. He would really speak his mind out. So Aladhari, because Thakur was in such a high state, he could not make any distinction between what is Uchishta, what is pure, what is offered, what is not offered. Because in his normal stage, only cooked by very pure people, he would not touch anything. All those, he used to observe the highest of formalities. But when he had gone beyond all that, he was in such a state, exalted state of mind. He had absolutely no distinction whatsoever. So there were Kaliga, they used to feed many beggars, Kangal. Those were nothing. So he went and took a little from their plate and ate a little. Obviously, there was no question of, at that time, there was no idea of caste, although he was from a very high Brahmin family. No question of caste, creed, nothing. Nothing was, he was in such a high state. And sometimes deliberately also Thakur used to observe some of the, like that he went and cleaned Rashik Mathur's washrooms, because to get into the idea of any pride related to caste, he said all those ashtapas, that 8 bondages, like jati, kul, so many things, lajja, grina, bhai, many, all those things, unless they are all overcome, it's not possible to reach the highest truth. So either because of that, or because he was in such a high state, he could not make any distinction between what is prasad and what is uchishta. They were beggars, and from their plate, not that he ate a huge lot, just a speck. Then immediately this Haladari says, "Oh, you have lost your caste. How will your children get married?" Then he became furious. "You rascal, you day and night you speak of Vedanta, and you are talking about my children. What are you saying? Every day and night you say world is a mithya, and you are so worried about marriage and children and all that. Vedanta mukhe phode agum. Let your fire upon your idea of this Vedanta." See, that's what is so important. It's very easy to talk about the highest ideas. See, if you are a little intelligent, if you can read a few books, you can give the most wonderful lectures. But that doesn't matter at all. In fact, no, that's why they often say that that has not been our tradition also. The order in 125 years, probably he might have produced 2 or 3 very brilliant speakers. Generally, the tradition is to live a great life and inspire people through the life. That has been the consistent practice, starting from Thakur, direct disciples, the next generation of monks. They were all, for example, even many scholars, they would hardly give a talk. Even Buddhishanji was such a great scholar, but he would very rarely he would speak. They would not speak us that way. So for all them, the real matter was how to live a great life. And in fact, that is the speciality of this Ramakrishna Vivekananda tradition. Even for devotees also, it's very important to practice, to lead a life that way. Otherwise, any amount of reading, any amount all that will not amount to anything at all. So, instead of reading, one might read this part like Aladhari, reading so many things, but ultimately when it comes to the brass tacks, when it comes to the level of life, suddenly you come down, so degenerated is the idea, at such a low level you speak. That's why Thakur says it's very important. It is to practice what we preach rather than go on giving lectures. So I think we shall stop here. If you have any questions, we can take a few questions. Otherwise, again, I have to go for Arti and Ramnam now. So if you have anything, you can ask me. Otherwise, of course, you can always ask next time also. But right now, whatever we discussed, if you have anything, you can ask.
Maharaj, you mentioned about the very senior Swamiji in your order, Swami Shantanandaji. Yes, so he could hear the Anahat Dhani you said.
Yeah.
So I'm sure someone would have asked him. Did he describe what it was? I mean, like.
Yeah, see, I don't know how deep discussions people had about him, but generally it is known, this Anahata Dhani is that a sound is coming from deep within, from the most interior of a person's heart or something like that. So, probably it is, obviously, beyond a point, it's not possible to describe also, because it is not an experience at the level of the senses. So it's not a normal noise or anything, not a normal sound. So only those whose minds are at such a high level, they could hear that deep, the sound, that which is coming unstruck or by itself. It is arising from the nabi, from deep within.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, also, this reminds me of when we put a shankho to our ears. We hear that that sound. So, is there any? It's a very stupid question. Is there any link between the two?
There is no link. Shankha is, of course, it's a good sound anyway. It's a pure sound, but Nahata Dhwani is something very, very, very different.
Indrani has it.
Yeah. Yes, Indrani.
Pranam, Maharaj. Maharaj, during the course of this discussion, this idea of renunciation came up. Many times once or twice you mentioned this, that if we have this urge to renounce, then we have progressed in spiritual life, which we know. But Maharaj, so that brought a question to my mind, and in fact, I have had this question for a long time. I will give you 2 or 3 examples, Maharaj. See, for instance, when I do not have a child of my own, but I am a teacher and I'm taking care of children. I am very much attached to them. I'm a concerned teacher. I'm anxious about them. Then I become a mother. Then I realize that when I have my own child, my anxiety for my child when I know he's sick or something is tremendous. And then I try to imagine how would it be like for a nun who doesn't have her own children. But if she were to take care of a child, how is that? I understand that love is even higher, but I cannot intellectually grasp it. So this is a question I have, like, how is this transition, how does this transition happen from this householder phase to this that I want to renounce? And how is this love higher? I respect that. It's not that
the point is, the point is, renunciation comes from what? From understanding the true nature of world and its life. However much one might love one's child, neither am I going to be with the child forever, nor is the child going to be with me forever. So all this only brings so much of sorrow and suffering. We try to put so much, then when the child, when it grows up, it goes in its own way, we are completely broken-hearted. So as our responsibility, definitely one has to do what one has to do. But beyond the point, day and night doting over that and thinking, I have seen how they look at the children as if they will consume them. That kind of thing is no good at all. That will only bring sorrow, ultimately. One has to, because you see, from any point of view, from any spiritual point of view, whether it's Dvaita, Vishadvaita, any point if you discuss, you'll understand that it is meaningless to have that kind of a possessive attitude towards anything. That will only bring sorrow. So one has to rationalize, one has to do vichara, understand this is the nature of life, this is so transient, so impermanent. Why should I be attached? Yes, it's even if you think, it's a 1 in a million chance, so and so is so and so's child. That combination, what it happens is total mystery. Nobody knows. No one can figure out. So that be so. Why should I be so bothered about that? One can do one's duty and yet feel, yes, good. Let the child grow up in its own way. Let me say what is good. It's up to the child to take it and grow in its own way. So that will save you from a lot of sorrow and suffering. Otherwise, people suffer all their life because they are attached unnecessarily. And not only that, if the mind is caught in that, it will not be possible for the mind to accept or appreciate anything higher or superior.
Yes, Maharaj. So when we are we are not that much attached to one thing or one person, then our capacity for serving others becomes greater. Is that it, Maharaj?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Maharaj. Pranam, Maharaj.
Namaskar. Next time we'll take up, even if there are questions, because I have to now go for Aarti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.